T-Bone and Heather in the morning on Star 98.3 and 97.7 The Bay.
8 minutes after 8 o'clock, 8:08. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you along with us.
So glad.
You know what? Speaking of along with us this morning, we got a special guest on the phone. Good morning, Dr. Mehta. Are you there?
Good morning.
Good
How are
morning.
you guys?
Yay!
We are fantastic. Thanks so much for making a couple minutes to chat with us this morning. I know you are a pediatrician, and so you guys have been obviously probably on a daily basis keeping up with this whole COVID vaccine thing as it's now approved for kids 5 to 11 years old.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let's just start with a very basic question. What's your take on that? Is it a good thing, bad thing? What do you think?
Oh, it's such a good thing. I, as a pediatrician, am so excited that we have this vaccine for children. You know, if you think of COVID as this invader that has totally, toppled the lives of so many kids, this is our self-defense. This is the way we're going to fight back.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thrilled. I am thrilled for this vaccine.
What do you think the FDA is going to say about kids even younger than 5? I mean, I know they're looking into that. Do you think it'll stop at 5, or what do you think the future holds? I'm asking you to be a soothsayer and to tell us the future, but what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I know that they've already started trials for kids 6 months and above, Moderna and Pfizer. So I do think that we will see vaccines for the younger group. But again, it's all about the data, right? Mm-hmm. The FDA is not going to approve anything that doesn't have good data. So we want to see that it's going to be safe and effective in all ages before we recommend it. So we have that data for 5 and above. And once we have the data for 6 months and above, then we'll get to that stage as well.
What about people who say, Dr. Mehta, that, well, kids don't even get it. And if they do get it, they survive it. So why even get a vaccine, an unproven vaccine? We don't know anything about it. There's no telling what's going to happen in the future. Why would we do it?
Yeah, I hear that a lot every single
I
day.
bet you do.
I tell parents, look, I hear ya. When there are new things like this COVID vaccine, it can be really scary. But I'm here to tell you that this COVID vaccine is not scary from my perspective. This vaccine has been studied. It has data. It has science behind it. And again, this vaccine is our way of getting these kids. This pandemic has been so much more for kids than just being out of school. This is about getting them back to sports, getting them back to doing the things they need to do, like sleepovers, and doing so safely.
Yeah.
So it's more than just about, there's a couple of kids who have gotten COVID. There are hundreds of kids who have died from COVID already, and in pediatrics, one child death is huge.
Right.
That is such a huge thing for us that we can prevent that. You bet we're going to try to prevent that.
So the pandemic has, and rightfully so, I mean, it's gobbled up everybody's attention and resources. But pandemic aside, I mean, there are some interesting things going on in our country as it relates to childhood diseases and vaccines and things like that. Some diseases that we haven't seen, or at least haven't seen really in any numbers, are coming back.
Like whooping cough and measles. I mean, what's the story with that?
Yeah, that is definitely something that we as pediatricians are very nervous about. These are diseases that we have great vaccines for. We have vaccines that work. But I think, misinformation, I know you guys were talking about this earlier, misinformation is really playing a role in less parents getting their children vaccinated. And it's very scary for me as a pediatrician because we're seeing outbreaks of these diseases that we should not be seeing outbreaks for, right? This is stuff that we've had vaccines for years. This is stuff we shouldn't be seeing. And so when we see measles outbreaks or pertussis outbreaks, these are scary diseases. These kill children, and that's not okay. We need to protect our kids.
Exactly. And, a lot of that has to do with what we were talking about, as you said, misinformation. But, it's you have to weigh that against the fact that there's actually arguments at dinner tables across this country right now as to whether or not the world is flat or round. So, it's exhausting. But I've had countless arguments on the air about people screaming and yelling about vaccines and getting their kids vaccinated, and they believe what they hear on what they see on the internet, what their friends tell them, that it's dangerous. And How do you, as a pediatrician, deal with that?
How
when they
do
come
you
in,
combat
when they come
that,
in with their little
Monica?
bundle of joy, and it's cute as a button with its
Yeah.
rosy cheeks, and you say, "Okay, hey, it's time for their first round of shots," and they go, "Oh, no way!"
I mean, how do you combat that as a pediatrician? Because obviously, do no harm and you want them to be as healthy as possible. How do you convey to a parent who is somebody who is opposed to vaccines to get their kid healthy?
Yeah. One of the things that I like to tell parents is that, look, I grew up in Calvert County, right? I went to elementary school, middle school, high school here in this county. So a lot of my patients' parents are actually people that I've known for years and years.
Right.
And I tell my patients that, I really care about this community. I would only do things that are going to protect the health of this community, of their children. And I also would never recommend something to their children that I wouldn't recommend to my own family. And I can tell you that every kid in my family is vaccinated according to the CDC schedule. This is something that I know is safe and effective. Vaccines in general have been studied more than so many other things that we do. The vaccines have been studied more than the antibiotics that I write for ear infections every day. So what we know about vaccines is that they're really safe, they're really effective, and I'm just here to protect my community that I care for, that I grew up in.
Yeah, because these are people
and
you're
my
gonna
family.
these are people you're gonna bump into in the grocery store.
Yeah, I don't want to get pertussis.
Right, exactly. Hey, let me ask you a very okay. So I've always been kind of curious about this, but what is the big difference between a pediatrician and just I'm going to say an average doctor? That seems demeaning in some way, but you know what I mean, like a regular doctor. What do you guys do different than they do?
So all medical doctors have to go through, 4 years of college, 4 years of medical school, and then comes residency training. So that's where you get the subspecialization. So you can choose to do pediatrics is 3 years of just pediatric specific training. If you do adult medicine, you're doing just adult medicine training. And then let's say if you wanted to become like a cardiologist, then you would do additional training on top of that for
That's too much
several
training.
years.
That's a lot of training.
It's a lot of school.
Hey, listen, Monica, I mean, okay, you're a pediatrician and you deal with sick kids all the time, sometimes some really sick kids. I don't think I could do that. How do you do that? How do you, I don't know, put it in a box and not take it home? I mean, because I see sick kids. I saw an oncologist once talking about, it was 60 Minutes, and talking about dealing with sick kids. And I just don't know how he did it every day. And, he got weepy too because it affects him. So it must affect you. How do you deal with that on a daily basis?
Oh, it definitely affects me too. Definitely, during the COVID pandemic, I've gone on to, home to my husband and sobbed about, why can't I protect these kids better? Why can't I do more for these patients? And it's hard. I'm just a normal person like everybody else. And so I do a lot of the things I tell my patients to do. We're all going through a little bit of a mental health crisis right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important to eat healthy, drink water.
Did you hear my
exercise every day?
Did you
I
hear
heard about your
the eggnog? Yeah. What do you think?
That's not good.
I was thinking about it. I don't know if I could recommend eggnog.
Well, look, I'm just putting it out there.
Every once in a while.
I'm just putting it out there. Whatever you think's best.
Hey, listen, I wanted to talk. I'm glad you brought it up. Mental health in kids. And you are obviously a youngin', okay, compared to T and I.
Hey.
Well, listen. Well, growing up,
I'm on a strict nog diet.
Listen,
I look half my age.
we never talked about mental health in kids, and now it seems like it's all we talk about: mental health in kids. Is there anything to go outside and get some fresh air? I mean, is there anything to that, or does everything have to be clinical and let's diagnose and let's do this and that? I mean, because we are talking about kids and mental health, especially after this pandemic. Some of them are really having a hard time.
Oh, absolutely. And again, yes, there is something to going out and getting some fresh air. We know that being outside, being outdoors, being in nature, getting sunlight on you is good for your vitamin D levels. Those are all protective factors. Exercise, having these kids move their bodies, getting them off of the video games is going to be good for them. Getting them good sleep every single night, meaning that they're not on their phones right before they go to bed. This is all stuff that's going to be good for their mental health. And then, there are some cases where they need to see a physician. They need to see a psychiatrist. We need to get them therapy and or maybe medications. And we have those as well. But every child is going to benefit from some good fresh air every day.
I love that.
Day.
All right, well, listen, I know you got your hands full. There's this, it's approved now, 5 to 11 years old. And I know you are in the corner of going out there and getting that vaccine, as am I, and I think people should do it. But listen, get out there, get that vaccine going. Let's see if we can get everybody vaccinated would be good, I think.
Oh, yes. I would. That's all I want for Christmas. Everybody back.
Monica, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for taking time out this morning, and you're welcome anytime. We'd love to have you on again.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care.
Well, she is a delight.
She is a delight.
She's a delight.
The reason I asked that question was I had kind of, when my son was, I don't know, whatever age they start getting their shots, right? And because that's how intent of a parent I am. I don't know, whatever age it was. But, I said that to his pediatrician at the time. I said, listen, okay, look, I know this is silly, but I'm just going to put this out there. What about all this stuff I hear about the vaccines and autism, this and what's her butt, the one that's married to the Wahlberg?
Jenny McCarthy.
Yeah, she's running around talking about all this stuff. I blame her for everything. And the pediatrician at the time that we had for my son said, do you think I would consciously hurt your child? And then I felt like an ass. And I was like,
no.
No. He goes, well, I've looked into this. I've studied this. This is what I do. I'm telling you, this is the best course to protect your child. I'm here to protect your child.
And we said, okay.
All right, then.
Got it. Go ahead and jab him.
Felt like an ass then.
Dr. Monica Mehta, thank you so much. She's at Calvert Health Medical Center talking about kids and vaccines this morning. So we appreciate her time.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
It is. And, again, everybody's you got to make your own decisions. But please, just do this for me.
Just listen to the professionals.
Yes. Regardless. Don't listen to me.
No.
Okay? I'm prescribing eggnog.
Right. And
That's
rum.
my go-to.
And rum.
Right. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to your friends. Don't listen to Fox News. Don't listen to CNN. Don't listen to... Go talk to a doctor.
Sure.
A doctor you trust. A doctor you trust. Not a witch doctor.
Not a shaman.
Nobody that's going to say, well, just wear this styrofoam pyramid. Okay, do you know which way east is?
You need to point that way at all times.
At all times. That is what's... No, I mean a doctor. Medical, Western doctor. Do that, and then make your decision. Whatever that decision is, then you can live with it. 8:21, phone lines are open for you. Let's check the forecast.